we live full-time in an RV. We cook, we work, we explore, we travel the country full-time in 400 square feet.
And we drink wine.
And we do. We drink wine. Not all the time, but occasionally. And so today we have a lot to talk about. What's it like living full-time in an RV? What happened this week? And then we've got some special guests that'll be on. And we're also going to talk about what it's like on moving day. So stick around. We're gonna have some fun.
So let's get this party started with a quick health update.
That's always a great way to start a party, is with a health update.
Yeah, isn't it? It's a party.
It's not a party till we update you on our health, says everybody over 80.
So if you don't know what happened, we'll put a link to the video here. But 6 weeks ago, I had a heart attack. And so 6 weeks out, where are we at? I'm almost...
No, you're 100.
I'm 100. Let's just say I'm back to 100%. Earlier today, I actually washed Stella, our F350 dually, and last weekend I actually washed and waxed Howie, our 394 RK that we live full time in. So, well, yeah, I'm gonna say I'm back. I'm feeling great. So, speaking of health issues on the road, we wanted to get the perspective from another YouTube channel that also happened to have some health issues on the road. So we had the opportunity to talk to Bob and Barb from Hettesh World. We'll put a link to their channel down in the description below. Be sure and check their videos out. But Bob had a kidney issue while they were on the road. So we wanted to compare notes with Barb and Bob.
The first thing I want to say is happy birthday, Barb.
Yes. So happy late birthday. When was it? A couple of days ago? Week ago?
The 8th, yeah.
Saturday.
The day before Easter.
Yeah, today's the 11th, so 3 days ago.
Okay, so and just to kind of lead in, like we've been kind of communicating with you guys on messages and stuff like that, but we haven't met you yet. And this is the first time we've actually talked in person. So, and the first time we're going to get to see each other is in Hershey, right?
In Hershey, yes, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
But I feel like we're close to you guys. I don't know. I just feel connected. You guys are good.
Yeah, you guys are so awesome.
Yeah, so it's really cool to virtually get to see you, in real time, which is really wonderful.
And so the reason we wanted to talk with you guys, kind of you're our first guest, and it's really because Bob, it's your fault. You like me have had medical conditions, so we really just kind of wanted to have a quick discussion about medical conditions, living full time on the road, not having a home base to go to, what that led to, tips and tricks for some of the people that might be watching to maybe, if you can, plan ahead, because I don't think you guys planned for your incident that you had, and we certainly didn't plan for ours.
No, I've had that problem a couple times, so there's no way to plan for it. I wish I could plan for it.
Exactly. So, tell us really quick, Bob, what happened to you and how you guys got through it.
Okay. Well, I'm a stone former, so I create little pebbles in my kidneys, and it's been going on since I met Barb when I was 27 years old.
I thought he was trying to get away from me on the second date, but
of course. Full timing, I about 2 months prior to me having to be hospitalized, I started having kidney problems where I was feeling the pain in my back, and I knew what it was right away. I was just trying to avoid it because I knew we were full time and it was going to disrupt our lives.
He doesn't like to tell me things.
So I was trying to just kind of trying to hope that it would go away, So, but we got into Washington State in Newport, Washington, 1,000 Trails there, and it was not going away. It was getting worse. And so I finally told her I need to go to the emergency room. And in the past, I'd self-medicate and kind of live through the pain until they passed. Well, these guys were too big to pass. So we ended up going to the emergency room, and they did an exam. They knew exactly what it was right away by doing a urine sample and everything. And then turned out that I had large stones in both kidneys. Yeah. So I had to actually get a stents installed, which go from your bladder to your kidneys, and I've had that done before, just so they can actually get you on the table, break them up, and you can pass them. Mm-hmm. So that was the whole stent of it. So we were disrupted for about a month, I guess, because I had the time to go in and getting the procedure done, getting the stents installed, and then getting them broke up and then passing them.
One question I had because my heart situation came up so fast, yeah. I was thinking if I would have had symptoms beforehand, maybe since we're so close to our home base, Denver, which is where our doctors were, if I would have had symptoms before, we might have skipped New Mexico and went right to Denver to kind of be with our home doctors, right? But because it was an emergency, we didn't have that. So right. Bob, when you were in Washington State, did you just decide, okay, now's the time, or did you plan, okay, we're going to do this here in Washington?
Well, I like you said with the heart, I mean, if I'd have been if we wouldn't have been full-time and we were in our home, I'd have probably went to the hospital right away, but I kind of let it go for about 6 weeks or so, living with the problem. Then about 2 months. Yeah. And then, so when we got to Washington, it just got to where the pain was unbearable. I mean, I couldn't take it anymore. So that's when we decided we have to go to the emergency room.
So it was wherever you were at the time.
Yeah. It was the point where it had to be addressed, because I'm pretty sure I was 99% sure what it was, because it's happened to me 4 other times in my life. So I knew what it was. I knew the pain where it was, but at that point we knew it had to be addressed. There was no passing off it. I kept thinking eventually I was taking Tylenol and trying to say it's going to pass, but it wasn't happening. So
yeah. But isn't that the instinct when you're full timing? At least it feels like that to us. It's like if something goes wrong, you always have the option of going back. I mean, Rich said Denver's our home base. We don't have a home there. It's just that's where our insurance and our domicile
right.
is.
Right.
I mean, we could always.
That's where you feel the most comfortable.
Yeah, and well, that's where the insurance actually works. We're better.
It works better.
Okay.
Yeah, and but I mean, the thought of packing up if you're across the country to go back and you don't know if it's serious, and you're like, oh, I don't want to either fly back there or drive all the way back there and then get there and they go, oh, you're fine. You know what I mean? It's just like I think that's at play when you're full timing, and it sounds like Bob, you kind of did that too. It's like this will pass, because you don't want to reroute your plans. Right. You don't, and I think that's the one thing that, not that you had any indication, but
no,
it's just it's difficult to make that decision.
And then so the park you guys landed at, like, we got very fortunate here. We were going to be here for a month. We had the incident. We needed to back it out to 6 weeks.
2 more weeks.
And the park was very accommodating. So did you go into your park going, look, I'm going to need a month? Or were they accommodating for you guys based on your situation?
Well, you can talk about that.
We were at Thousand Trails, Little Diamond. And when we first got there, he was still okay. I think it was like the next day that he said, something's going on. It's getting worse. And I'm having trouble. I got to go to the doctor. So after we took him to the emergency room and they put the stents in and we brought him home, and they said he had to have them in for, was it 2 weeks?
Well, it was according to how fast they left my body, but it was 2 weeks minimum.
But I knew we could extend it. We were supposed to be there only a week. So I extended it 3 weeks, and then they let me pay the $29 to extend it to the 4th week. And then it was coming right up to that 4th week, where on Monday he was having the surgery, and we were going to have to leave, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday of that week. And I tried to extend it, and they said, well, you can go down to the KOA and pay, $200 a night, and, no, you can't stay. And I did everything. Please, I cried, everything. Please let us stay here. So when we took him to the doctor that day, I said, look, we got to leave in 2 days. You put him on that table and you shake the you-know-what out of him, because we got to leave in 2 days. And the doctor told me he did.
Yeah, we were, at the time we were in Newport, Washington, but the doctors, because when I decided I had to go to the emergency room, we looked up the hospitals, and of course we looked at the hospital in Newport, and we go, oh, it's got like a 1-star. I said, I don't know if I want to go to a 1-star for my urinary issues.
They were like, don't go
so
there.
Spokane was like 55 miles away. I said, and they had their department, they were set up. So I said, we're going to trek the 55 miles because we were able to, because it wasn't severe, or we could still transport.
I will say our family doctor let us down. We have a family doctor in Texas, which we've just only had since we started. We're supposed to telecommunicate with her.
And it wasn't.
Then they were like, she doesn't do that. It wasn't working. And by the time she called, I already found him the doctor and the hospital and had it all set up. And we were super
lucky. It's
frustrating. And we found out, not because we've got a nice letter via email or anything, that our primary care, which we share the same primary care in Denver, is no longer our primary care and hasn't been for like 6 months. And it's like, thank you for that. I tried to get in because we're only going to be there 2 weeks, and then we're changing our residency to Michigan because we're moving my parents there.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
So I'll get new insurance. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get in my, while I'm still in Denver. And they wouldn't even see me. Yeah. They're like, "There's no sense you coming because you're moving, and we can't establish, care here." I'm like, "I have something I want to come to you about." Yeah. They didn't even want to see me. I'm like,
doctors are horrible. I mean,
it's worse than car insurance.
The whole healthcare system in general.
It's just kind of flawed.
Yeah, and what we found is with our insurance, as long as you go to the emergency room, they're going to cover much of it or whatever. But if you try to go just to a primary care doctor in a state that you're not in, that your insurance isn't in, that you have to, they won't cover that. They'll cover some prescriptions. So it is tough being on the road and working with your insurance and getting sick or having an incident or something. But I don't think it's any reason to not be on the road. I think it just kind of roll the dice and hope for the best.
Well, what advice might you guys have for people that have health concerns that are thinking about going on the road? Like with your situation, would you have done anything different, or is there anything you could have planned for?
Yeah, I mean, probably not with the kidney stone issue. Probably not been planning on it. I mean, the main thing we do is, being on the road, we try to stay in good health, by walking and stuff.
Normally we're basically healthy.
Yeah. But don't miss make sure you go to your annual visits and stuff like that, and just try to stay as healthy as you can. We went through the whole COVID thing on the road and never once got sick, so we were very fortunate that way. There was a lot of people sick around us, but we were very fortunate that way.
I mean, my nightmare has always been, because we plan 180 days ahead of time. I'm already booked up to like November of next year, because that's just how I am. So having to do it on the fly was scary, because we had to cancel all those ones and then try to book out there. And for the most part, parks were pretty good, and I'm good at managing things. So this is where that old experience comes back in, where I just start smooshing and working and doing whatever I can to try to make sure that we're safely getting on our way.
I think part of the whole medical issue I had was the guilt of how it was going to disrupt our lives.
Yeah, it really bothered him.
It really bothered me that I knew we were wanting to stay in. We wanted to travel across Washington State and kind of stop in a couple spots, and that all got pretty much canceled. And then it took us forever to get back into the flow, because I felt like that whole thing just
we kind of
damaged.
We missed up Washington and Oregon. It's like we just went from one end to the other, and then jumped over to Portland, because why not? And then and then jumped into California, and then I don't know. We were off our game. We were doing things and exploring, but it didn't feel the same. It took us a while for some reason. I think it scared us and it worried us, but. So, because we love this, we love doing this, we love being free and seeing everything we want to see, and we don't want to stop. We don't want something to stop it. We're not ready to be done.
I think the tendency and the greater message, it sounds like, is don't have the guilt. Don't worry about disrupting. There's a lot, there's more time, and I kind of, don't you feel like we would do that too? Be like, oh, it doesn't hurt that bad. Oh, it's not that.
Well, one question I have for you, Bob, is how long did it kind of throw you guys off your game, even after you were better? How long were you kind of still like, oh, I'm not fully there yet?
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Probably 6 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks,
okay.
A couple months.
Barb, what was it like for you, when he's the one that's sick, and so then does everything fall to you for a certain amount of time to take care of? And how is that for you? Was that difficult?
Well, luckily we didn't have to move, because this park, for one thing, was a park you go in and then you circle around the mountain and you go up to the top. I've never driven the camper, let alone try to circle it down, you know.
Yeah, you don't want that to be your first time.
Yeah, come on, Bob, get in there.
Yeah, that was part of the fear, was that if she had to move the camper, you know, it would have been something really major.
Because he was trying to make sure he was trying to make sure he could handle it enough, but he's on narcotics for pain. I can handle this if we have to hook up and get out of here. I said, no, we're not leaving. I don't care. If we're out of weeks and you're still sick, I'm not leaving, and they can try to drag me out here.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to have. And that is the fear. I know for us, I don't drive. I can never drive. There's just no way we don't want that. If you want it destroyed, then yeah, I'll drive.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we didn't know. And I will say, his doctors, every time I asked, well, when do you think, you know, he's going to be recovered? We got no answer. So we just had to hope. And then, you know, he's back now. We leave on Saturday, and he should be fine. We did have to move two sites down. We did that two weeks ago, and he was pretty much okay.
But you did a lot of it though.
Yeah, I did a lot, and it was fine. But I know for me, because he was out. He had a good 2 weeks of really not doing much when he got home.
For 2 weeks, I was pretty much incapable of doing anything. And for one of those 2 weeks, I was on oxygen too.
Yeah. So I was doing, you know, everything that had to be done, which isn't a lot. It's not like this is a hard lifestyle. But when you combine it with my workload and everything, it was a lot. So
that's right. You guys need more.
Yeah. And then when this happens, you're alone. There's nobody you can call, say, hey, come on over and help me out. And I think that's the hardest part of any type of medical issue on the road, is that you are alone, and just something to think about when you're going out, you know, full time. And I wouldn't not full time because of it, but it's just one of those things you got to kind of, you know that it could be in your world. And as we get older, we're healthy too, so we didn't see it at all. And it can just happen, and boom.
We appreciate you guys coming on. Tell some of our people who might be watching where they can find you guys in your channel as well.
The best place to find us is Hettesh World. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And our channel is all about RV life and Can-Am spider rides.
In Hettesh World, the name Hettesh is my last name shortened, because it's a long German name of Hettesheimer. So we dropped off the Heimer and just made it Hettesh World.
I meet people now and I go, hi, I'm Barb Hettesh World.
Speaking of the Can-Am spider, we want to take a look at that when we're together.
Oh, we'll let you guys drive it.
You guys can jump on and ride it. You'll love it.
Yeah. So I'm an old BMW GS rider. I sold my bike years and years ago. But yeah, I loved being on two wheels, and I don't think I'd be comfortable riding together two up on two wheels, but riding two up on three wheels, I might be about.
I say it's a two-wheeler with a kickstand, so it's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to worry about falling down.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for being on. This was fun, and
we enjoyed it.
Can't wait to see you in person. It's
I know. You guys. I don't know. The first moment I saw you and watched your channel, I'm like, they're super cool. We're gonna be best friends.
We absolutely love Barb and Bob, and we are so excited that later this year, we're all going to be at the Hershey RV show. We've confirmed that, so we get to meet them in person. They are such wonderful people, and they cook a lot too. So they're going to be on the show. I don't know when, in a few months, and we're going to talk about food, and that's going to be super, super fun. So thank you again, Barb and Bob.
Thank you, Barb and Bob. And if you guys are going to be in the area of Hershey, Pennsylvania, around the Hershey RV show, because we're going to collaborate in some way with Barb and Bob, but we don't know how. But there's going to be cooking involved, and probably wine too. But if you're going to be in the area, you probably should look us up and let us know, because there'll probably be extra food, and we'll probably be wanting to feed people. So.
Oh yeah, we always love to feed people.
Exactly.
So yeah, just hit us up. We'll feed you. Really, we will. Okay, so what were we talking about now? Oh, the huge move that we had 2 weeks ago.
So we had booked our time here for 4 weeks, and then I had my issue, and we had no idea at the time if I was going to be ready to leave here in 4 weeks.
We kind of thought maybe not, so we were able to extend it 2 weeks. The park was great about it. They're like, fine, you just have to move. And
how far did we have to move?
I think it was like 50 feet.
2 sites over.
2 sites over. But I'm going to say this, whether you move 2 sites or 2 states,
It's the same.
it's virtually the same. There's some things you don't have to do, but we had, and I don't know how we did this. We are so careful when we move. We have a process. And I actually woke up that morning thinking in my mind that this is an easy move. I hope we don't get off of our process.
Off track.
And we did, and somehow put a slide in while the ladder was against the slide, and
squished it in.
And also Starlink, our dishy, was attached to the slide. And lucky for us, we didn't have any major damage, but that was a big mess up. But you still have to do almost everything else. The only thing different about moving 2 sites or 2 states is when you move 2 sites, I don't take my computer down at all. I leave it on the desk. I don't worry about packing up, dishes in the cabinet or wrapping them. We do still take some stuff off the shelves and everything, but that's about it.
But everything else on the outside of the rig doesn't matter. Two sites or 2 states. You're disconnecting all your utilities. You're putting in slides. Everything else is the same. And so this is why we are a proponent one of systems and procedures and checklists.
Yes.
Check
and double check.
Check and double check, and check each other, because it's not a gotcha. It's not oh, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. It's a double check, because cost of failure can be, luckily in our case it was not high, but cost of failure can be high. So double check each other, and don't be afraid to say, hey, did you do this?
Yes, and we felt horrible. We were so happy it was okay. But moving 2 sites is not, the same as having a whole travel day, but you're doing everything. Mm-hmm. The good thing is we didn't have to put the kayaks on the truck and then take them off. So we walked them down, we walked the bikes down, we walked the chairs down, the propane tank, all that stuff. We've moved sites in parks, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times during this year. Mm-hmm. Not my favorite thing to do, because, you're pretty comfy and it's like, I don't want to move, but we had to move. I was just very thankful that we could stay here for 2 more weeks, because Rich needed those 2 weeks.
I did. Yep.
He was fine. He did almost everything that he normally does, on his responsibilities on moving day, and moved us over there, pulled out, backed in and everything. But he was not ready to drive 2 weeks ago. It's kind of amazing that week afterwards, that's
when the big change happened. Was week 5 was really when I started turning for the battle.
Yeah, which is good. So now he's 100%. So we're very happy about that. So remember, no matter how far you move, always do everything you
do your checklist for sure.
There you go. So we didn't do too much else in New Mexico because of the health situation, but we did go someplace Rich and I have been wanting to go, I don't know, forever.
For a very, very long time.
And it's called the Very Large Array.
And think Jodie Foster in the movie Contact, which was 1997. And so
hopefully you were born then.
Yep. If you think about that movie, a lot of that was filmed at the Very Large Array.
And the Very Large Array is just a collection, a pattern of satellite dishes that are getting information from the very, very, very far reaches of space. It's so interesting, amazing. The technology is just unbelievable, and you get to do the tour. You get to get pretty close to one of the dishes, but just seeing them in their configuration, and it's in this old riverbed with some mountains all around.
Mountains completely surrounding the riverbed to protect the array from electromagnetic waves and fields. And the whole history of the Very Large Array is very, very interesting. And if you find yourself in New Mexico, I would highly suggest you take the very, very long drive to get to the Very Large Array, because it's well worth it.
A Very Large Array should have a very long drive.
Yep, it does, and it's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, but it was a fun drive, and we'll put a link below to, there's this documentary that was done about it, which is really cool, and I'll give you some overview. And if you love science, if you love space, you love all that stuff, you will love the Very Large Array. You can get to it from Albuquerque or Truth or Consequences. It's actually about over 2 hours from Albuquerque. It was like an hour and a half here from
where we
Truth
are.
or Consequences.
Yep.
But that was just so much fun. It was one of those, I don't really do bucket list things, but I guess you could call it that. It's like when I saw that movie, I just was so enamored with it. I'm like, I have to go there someday. And then Rich and I didn't know each other then. And so when we met, all the things you talk about, discovered he wanted to go to the Very Large Array. And so we got to go. So that was fun. So that was our time here in New Mexico. We are headed out this weekend up to Denver. We're excited to be leaving because that means he's healthy and we can go.
Yep, and we get to the point after about a month or so, and we've been here 6 weeks, but usually after about a month, you and I get to the point where we're itching to travel and we're ready to move on to the next spot.
Yep, and we're ready to go.
So when you're in New Mexico, one thing really comes to mind from a food perspective, and that's the Hatch green chili. And what's interesting is smack dab in the middle of I-25 between Las Cruces and Truth or Consequences, where we're staying, is Hatch, New Mexico. And
chili capital of the world.
The green chili capital of the world. I think it just said chili capital.
It is. They claim just chili.
And so there's a cafe there, Sparky's, which there's lots of places in New Mexico that lay claim to the best green chili cheeseburger in the state. But we stopped at one of the originators of the green chili cheeseburger, Sparky's. We did a couple of things. Number one, I tasted the green chili cheeseburger because it wasn't gluten-free and they didn't have a gluten-free bun available.
Initial thoughts. What's your verdict?
Okay. So they do ask you how you want your burger cooked. I know this is controversial, and a lot of you don't like red in your burgers, but we like
the redder the better.
A medium rare burger. And look,
they did good. They cooked that well.
They cooked that exactly how I asked it to be cooked. We are going to compare the Sparky's green chili cheeseburger to our own green chili cheeseburger.
And let's be clear, I don't really like chilies, but Rich is promising me that the green chilies will not be spicy, so that should be an interesting video.
Yep, and if you've been watching our food portion of our channel, you know that we're not about heat for the sake of heat, but we're about flavor for the sake of flavor. And the green chilies, smoked green chilies, brought a lot of flavor to this burger. So
I'm looking forward to that, as long as they're not high.
To share that. And the additional exciting news is to cook our green chili cheeseburger, I got a new grill, finally.
Finally. Oh my God. The other one disintegrated. He couldn't decide what new grill to get. And
it literally disintegrated.
It did. Bye-bye, Smokey. You did us a solid for, I don't know what, 7 years? Now it's your time to go. Boom. Bye, dude. Thank you for your years of service. So I'm super excited to share a debut segment we're going to have on our videos, and it's the GF Explorers Book Club. If you don't know, Rich and I's main business is a marketing and design company where we help authors get their books published, you know, on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and whatnot. Rich handles the production end, and I handle the design end. I do cover design, interior design. And so we're going to showcase one of the books that we've worked on every week because one, they're good books, they're great books, and you may be interested in reading them, and we want to help out our authors. Almost all our authors are first-time authors. It's a dream come true for them, and some of these books are just amazing. This is a great segment for RVers because we have found more times than not around parks, RVers love to read. Yep. Doesn't matter if you're full-time, part-time, sometime, just take your rig out for a weekend. RVers love to read. And so who do we have this week? This first book, if you're a fan of cozy mysteries, you're going to love this first book. It's not a cozy mystery. It's really a creative nonfiction, but it reads like a mystery. Because what it is the author, Ann Hansen, is called Buried Secrets by Ann Hansen. And we'll put a link. We'll put a link, and so you can go right there and get it from Amazon. She did this like mystery sleuth thing with her own family. She discovered that her father had grandparents that parents that he knew nothing about. And so Anne was like, I'm going to figure this out. And it involves genealogy and all these searching for all the answers that both her and her father were looking for. And she eventually got her answers, which were very surprising. And so her and her dad got to do it together. So that was really wonderful. And she talks about that in the book. And, they got the answers, but then unfortunately her dad passed away before he got to see her book published. So it means a lot to us that we got to help her with her book. It's really amazing. Definitely check it out. and give it a read. And then I don't know who we have picked for next week, but it's going to be equally as good.
It's a surprise.
It is. We do all genres, from fiction to self-help and memoir and you name it. We do it.
Well, what do you think? That about wraps it up
Yep.
from our time here in New Mexico. And I'm so excited to get up to Denver because we are staying at the very same park, almost, not quite, but almost exactly a year out from where all this adventure started.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
And that's St. Vrain Park up in Longmont, Colorado. We plan on getting there next week, so I'm super excited about that. Excited for our time here, but even more excited to get up to St. Vrain. So we'll have a 1-year show coming up from St.
In a couple
Vrain.
weeks, yeah.
In a couple weeks.
It's time to go. We definitely know it's time to go.
Yep.
And I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments about our internet setup, about RV ovens, about what it's like to have a heart attack, you name it,
I can answer that.
Yeah, you can answer. We'll answer any of that, or about Elephant Butte. We'd love to answer your questions. So leave some comments below. And again, we'll put all the links down below of the things that we talked about. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. That really helps us out. We would really, really appreciate it.
And give this video a thumbs up.
Yep, we would love to do that too. And don't forget to check out our cooking videos. There's a new one every week. We have like over 150 of them on the channel, so check those out too. And until next time,
Happy exploring.